A já bych ji nejdřív představil. Gabriele Linnebach je z Německa, žije v Drážďanech a má tam malou skupinu buddhistickou, kde spolu cvičí. A Gabriele žila mnoho let v Japonsku a studovala tam a cvičila buddhismus s učitelem Gudo Nishijimou a od něho dostala transmisi dharmy a potom se vrátila do Německa a mimo jiné přeložila obrovskou knihu, možná někdo z vás zná, od mistra Dogena, Shobogenzo, má to 4 díly a Gabriele to přeložila celý z japonštiny do němčiny a teď to dělá dokonce znova, protože to chce udělat ještě líp. Takže to je Gabriele Linnebach a dneska zkusí říct něco o významu štěstí v buddhismu, což je teda téma, který jsem si vymyslel já. A Gabriele dneska na večeři říkala, že to je teda hrozný téma, že to vůbec s buddhismem nesouvisí, ale že něco řekne. As I said, you didn't like the topic so much, but you will explain. Okay, so.
Yes, so I'm supposed to talk about happiness.
Mám mluvit o štěstí.
And it's not really a Buddhist topic, you know.
A není opravdu buddhistické téma.
But it's a topic that has tremendous interest for everybody in our rich societies.
Ale je to téma, které v našich společnostech, kde jsou spousta bohatých lidí, tak je to oblíbené téma.
And so of course there are many people this tonight because of that, maybe.
Takže spousta lidí to zajímá.
Happiness in Buddhism is not quite what people generally understand.
Štěstí v buddhismu není přesně to, jak tomu většinou lidi rozumí.
The Buddhist seeks peace and serenity, not happiness.
Buddhisté hledají klid a takovou jasnost, ne štěstí. Serenity je něco jako jas nebo...
How would you describe serenity?
I beg your pardon?
How would you describe serenity?
Serenity?
Yes, how would you describe it?
To describe it? I think you can't really describe it. There's no sense describing it if you can't experience it. It's pure experience.
Nedá se to popsat, je to čistá zkušenost.
Not interesting to describe it. But you know when you have it.
Ale poznáš, když to zažiješ.
I opened the dictionary for sure. Serenity and klid.
In Czech in Czech it has a translation klid. It's something
peace.
Like peace. Something
Oh
like
yes.
peace.
Well, in German and in English there are 2 words.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and serenity, of course. Serenity is part of the peace. Peace is a more general, maybe, expression.
A ten klid, to se těžko pak překládá, serenity je určitý druh klidu.
happiness is quite difficult to get.
Štěstí je docela obtížný získat.
We are not yes, a baby might be happy, but a baby also cries. And we have to suffer for happiness.
Možná miminko je šťastný, ale taky pláče. Že možná musíme trpět kvůli štěstí.
But we also have to suffer for peace and serenity.
Ale taky musíme trpět kvůli, nebo aby jsme získali klid a jas.
We don't fear this suffer.
We don't fear this suffer.
We don't fear this kind of suffering.
A takovýho utrpení se...
It's part of our way.
Takovýho utrpení se v buddhismu nebojíme, je to součást naší cesty.
In our societies now, this is almost like a run for happiness.
Naše společnost dnes, to vypadá jako, že to je závod za štěstí.
The tremendous amount of books on happiness, how to be happy.
Existuje spousta knih, které radí lidem, jak se stát šťastným.
But the more we look for happiness, the less we really understand what happiness is.
Ale čím víc hledáme štěstí, tím méně rozumíme, co štěstí vůbec je.
In all these big noise about happiness, for instance, the very few people who realize that there's one, or the greatest gift we get is the gift of life itself.
Velmi málo lidí si uvědomuje, že největší dar, který máme, je dar, že vůbec žijeme.
We can live. It's a fantastic thing in itself.
To, že můžeme žít, je úžasná věc sama o sobě.
And to be satisfied and really appreciate this gift is already a step to true happiness.
A vážit si, ocenit to, že jsme vůbec naživu, je důležitý krok k opravdovému štěstí.
And there's one thing about not being happy is happiness seems always to be where we are not.
Jedna věc, která je důležitá na tom hledání štěstí, je, že lidi si myslí, že štěstí je přesně tam, kde nejsou. Že vždycky je někde jinde, než jsou ti lidi, kteří hledají štěstí.
So the more we run after happiness, the more we lose ourselves.
Takže čím víc se honíme za štěstím, tím víc ztrácíme sami sebe.
There's one famous writer, Stefan Zweig. German writer. He was very interested by Buddhism, and he said, the more we are in great pain, we know truly who we are.
A jeden slavný německý spisovatel Stefan Zweig, který napsal, že čím je větší naše bolest, tím víc víme, kdo opravdu jsme.
There's one thing which is quite important, is to understand that happiness and pain, satisfaction and frustrations are not opposites. They depend on each other, like the right foot on the left foot.
Je důležitá věc uvědomit, že frustrace a uspokojení, nebo utrpení a štěstí nejsou protiklady, ale závisí na sobě, jako levá a pravá noha.
So we are unhappy or frustrated, or better, it's a kind of permanent insatisfaction. It comes because we know generally very little about our true nature, about what we are and what we need.
Frustrace nebo netrpělivost nebo nespokojenost znamená většinou, že nevíme přesně, co je naše pravá povaha a nebo co opravdu potřebujeme.
We identify always what happens inside and outside us.
Pořád identifikujeme, co se děje v nás a mimo nás.
So we say, this is my body, this is my thoughts, this is my sense organs, my feelings and my knowledge.
Takže pořád říkáme, tohle je moje tělo, tohle jsou moje myšlenky, to jsou moje pocity, tohle jsou moje vědomosti.
But our real nature is not that what's running about in the world.
Ale naše pravá povaha není běhání po světě.
We are just sticking to that visible part
Je to jenom,
of the world of phenomena.
Že se držíme toho, co je viditelné ve světě, svět fenoménů nebo jevů.
The world we can perceive with our sense organs and think about.
Svět, který můžeme vnímat očima nebo našimi smysly, a svět, o kterém můžeme přemýšlet.
In Zen, we ask, what was your original face before your mother and father were born?
V Zenu se říká, nebo se ptáme, jaká byla tvoje původní tvář, než se narodila tvoje matka a otec.
We go back to our original, true nature.
Vracíme se k našemu původnímu, k naší pravé podstatě.
For Shakyamuni Buddha, unhappiness and suffering was the starting point of his teachings.
Pro Shakyamuni Buddhu neštěstí a utrpení byl jako první bod, kterým začal učit.
And it's often quoted with the words, life is suffering.
A často se tomuhle učení říká, život je utrpení.
But this shouldn't be taken for a real pessimistic view of life.
Ale to by nemělo být chápáno jako pesimistické vidění života.
But Shakyamuni Buddha saw very clearly that as far as enjoyment and happiness is concerned, we can never have enough. There's no limit to it.
Ale Shakyamuni viděl velmi jasně, že co se týká radostí a štěstí, tak že lidi nemají žádný meze, že nikdy nemají dost toho štěstí.
So life is suffering means really there's nothing that can truly satisfy us forever.
A takže to život je utrpení znamená spíš, že není nic, co by nás mohlo navždycky plně uspokojit.
So actually we just have to find a reason for our insatisfaction in our greedy nature.
Takže vlastně musíme najít důvod své nespokojenosti v naší nenasytné povaze.
And it is the harsh law of impermanence that makes us really see clearly that we can never be only happy.
Takže ten nepříjemný zákon pomíjivosti, díky tady tomu zákonu vlastně vidíme, že nikdy nemůžeme být pouze šťastní.
Master Dogen says it's our life is like a dewdrop on a blade of grass.
A říká se, že náš život je jako kapka rosy na stéblu trávy. So we have to accept the fact that happiness ends, and in our life we have to accept both happiness and suffering. Takže musíme prostě akceptovat, že štěstí vždycky nějakým způsobem končí a musíme v našem životě přijmout jak štěstí, tak utrpení.
So basically we can think that there are two different kinds of happiness. It's the kind of moods we have going up and down. I remember when I was young, I was very much like that. I was so happy and then boom, just came down. I was depressed and this is the kind of feeling, mood happiness.
Takže existují takový dva druhy štěstí. Jeden je štěstí, který spočívá v tom, že najednou jsme úplně nadšený a pak to najednou spadne úplně do opaku. A to jsem často zažíval, když jsem byla mladá, že jsem byla strašně štěstím celá bez sebe a pak najednou zvrat a strašná deprese.
And then there's the true happiness, which is like peace and serenity, which is based on our inner balance.
A pak je druhý typ štěstí a to je ten klid a jas, který je založený na naší vnitřní rovnováze.
The whole universe is actually in balance.
Celý vesmír je vlastně v rovnováze.
It is amazing to think and behind this or inside this chaotic world we are living now, there is this balance of the universe.
Je zajímavý, když si vezmeme, že v tom, že za tím chaotickým šíleným světě, v kterém teď žijeme, je pořád rovnováha vesmíru.
And because we are part of this universe, or we are ourselves, the whole universe, we have the capacity to regulate ourselves by practicing meditation, practicing acting, doing things. It's something inborn.
A my jsme vlastně jednak částí vesmíru, ale současně jsme vlastně vesmírem samotným.
It's a faculty of self-regulation we have in our bodies.
A díky tomu můžeme cvičit a díky tomu můžeme vykonávat každodenní věci. A to je vlastně vlastnost, ta rovnováha je vlastnost našeho těla. Je to něco, s čím jsme se narodili.
And this is a marvelous thing, because by sitting straight, with the spine straight, we can regulate our mind without really controlling. It comes naturally.
A když sedíme v téhle pozici, tak vlastně můžeme regulovat naši mysl bez toho, že bychom ji museli nějakým způsobem kontrolovat.
It is the function of the autonomic nervous system, which is part of our body, and
Excuse me, I have a question.
works with two opposite subsystems. All those people who have heard about Nishijima Roshi and Michael Litchford teaching here know about the function of the autonomic nervous system, and it is the base of what we call the state of serenity and peace, the state of nirvana.
Takže vlastně díky tomu, že mám, nebo je to funkce autonomní nervové soustavy, kterou máme všichni, a díky tady funkci té soustavy můžeme dosáhnout rovnováhy, klidu, jasu, a to je vlastně to, čemu se říká nirvana.
So starting off with this balance of body and mind, it is possible to forget ourselves.
Takže když začneme tím, že dosáhneme ty rovnováhy těla a mysli, tak můžeme zapomínat na sebe.
It's a great barrier of I, me, that we can just put down or overcome.
A můžeme tak překonat tu silnou, tu velkou bariéru, nebo ten blok já, moje. Díky tomuhle sezení můžeme to odhodit.
It's actually a state of action as seen as a balanced state.
Je to stav akce, která je současně vyrovnaným stavem.
And it is by forgetting ourselves, actually, that we can really find true happiness.
A vlastně tím, že zapomeneme sami na sebe, najdeme skutečné štěstí.
There's no other way, because otherwise it's just a kind of a feeling, a kind of a mood, which can never really satisfy us. We are much more profound as human beings as to be.
Když když chápeme štěstí jako pocity, jako pocit štěstí, tak v tom nikdy nemůžeme najít uspokojení. Když odhodíme, zapomeneme sami na sebe, tak to je něco hlubokého.
The best and really very interesting definition of happiness in Buddhism I found in a text from Shunoi Suzuki Roshi, who was a rather famous Soto teacher in America. And he said, happiness in Buddhism is not quite the happiness people usually feel. There's a tiny but very important difference. Because a Buddha knows both sides of reality. He has a certain kind of serenity or distance in regard to phenomena. Something bad doesn't make him feel disturbed or unhappy. And something good doesn't make him excited. Real happiness follows him all the time. The general mood of his life is always the same. Only sometimes there's a pleasant melody and sometimes a sad one. It means when he's happy, he experiences real happiness. And when he's sad, he experiences real sadness. But the point is that while experiencing happiness and sadness, he does not care at all whether he is happy or not. It's this not caring, not looking for, not craving for, not longing for this kind of delusion, which is happiness.
Can I
Yes, please.
A našla jsem zajímavou definici štěstí od slavného učitele japonského Shunryu Suzukiho. A ten řekl, mělo by být teď jasné, že štěstí v buddhismu není tak docela to štěstí, které lidi obvykle cítí. Je tam maličký, ale velmi důležitý rozdíl. Protože Buddha ví, nebo ne, že Buddha zná obě strany reality, obě strany skutečnosti, tak má určitý druh jasnosti, co se týká chápání jevu. Něco špatného, když se děje něco špatného, tak to nevede u něho k tomu, že by byl tím nějak vyrušen nebo nešťastný a něco dobrého ho nečiní nadšeným. Skutečné štěstí ho jde za ním pořád. Obecná nálada jeho života je vždycky stejná akorát, že je tam vždycky nějaká příjemná melodie a někdy je tam příjemná melodie a někdy je tam smutná melodie. To znamená, že když je šťastný, zažívá skutečné štěstí a když je smutný, tak zažívá skutečný smutek, ale jde o to, že zatím, když zažívá štěstí nebo smutek, ať už zažívá to nebo no, tak mu je jedno, jestli je šťastný nebo ne. Thank you.
That's true happiness. It's the balance.
To je skutečné štěstí, je to rovnováha.
And it is it's the practice of meditation.
A je to praxe meditace.
So to meditate a whole life is the best way to be truly happy. Balanced means to forget ourselves.
Meditovat celý život je způsob, jak být celý život šťastný a ta rovnováha, která z toho vyplývá, znamená být sám sebou.
And as I'm now in the already quite old, I can really say that for me, it's true.
A protože já už jsem docela stará, tak můžu říct, že sama za sebe můžu říct, že to tak opravdu je, že to je pravda.
It's not easy to make other people believe in what you self feel as absolute truth, but it's what the Buddha is teaching. He's not teaching anything else.
Je těžký druhý lidi přesvědčit o tom, co vy sami zažíváte, nebo co je vaše zkušenost, že to je pravda, ale to je prostě Buddhovo učení.
Do the Zen every day. And whether it is easy or difficult, it doesn't matter. Just get yourself in the balanced state by sitting in the correct posture and just get rid of everything.
Prostě každý den cvičte ve správné pozici meditaci a zbavte se všeho.
It sounds much too simple, but it's not easy at all.
To zní velmi jednoduše, ale vůbec to jednoduchý není.
It's not easy to do. It's easy to talk about.
Není jednoduché to dělat, je jednoduché o tom mluvit.
And it's easy to think about, yes, I will meditate.
Je jednoduchý myslet si, dobře, meditovat.
But actually do it. It's quite a thing.
Ale dělat to opravdu je docela záležitost velká.
I have a little dojo in Dresden, where I live.
A v Drážděnech mám malé dojo, kde žiju.
And now I'm there. It's the 5th year. And there's about a handful of people I could convince. Convince to meditate and forget themselves.
V Dražené už to dožil mám teda 5 let a je tam jenom hrstka lidí, který můžu přesvědčit, aby cvičili zazen a zapomněli na sebe.
They will understand intellectually. No problem. Oh yes, yes, yeah, I come. Yes, I'm motivated, yes. It's all that, but it's just words. It is difficult to sit in front of this wall and get really to the bottom of ourselves.
Oni ty lidi jako tomu rozumí intelektuálně, jasně jako to dává smysl a chtějí cvičit, ale není jednoduchý to opravdu dělat. A sedět před zdí a dostat se úplně na dno sebe sama.
But it's really true. We have we have an idea of ourselves which is so limited, so small. And the same thing about the ideas we have about others. It's connected, of course.
Máme o sobě tak strašně omezený mínění. Chápeme sami sebe jako vlastně strašně omezenou osobu a současně druhý lidi chápeme strašně omezeně a to spolu samozřejmě souvisí.
And practicing for long years means to really understand how small this idea is, how unimportant, how really it stands as a big, big barrier between us and reality itself and our life.
A když cvičíme mnoho let, tak vidíme, jak je to, jak jsme vlastně nedůležití a jak velká bariéra je mezi náma a ostatním světem a jak nám to brání vidět, co je skutečnost.
Just step back. Dogen says, make a step back. Instead of always wanting to go forward in some kind of dream.
V Zenu se říká, udějte krok zpátky a místo toho, abyste pořád se snažili jít dopředu za nějakým snem.
The kind of dream or illusion of happiness.
Za nějakým snem nebo iluzí štěstí.
Then we can understand that there's another way to be happy.
Pak můžeme chápat, že existuje ještě jiný způsob, jak být šťastný.
A simple way.
Nebo jednoduchý způsob.
But we really don't need much outside. It's all in there, in ourselves.
Když toho nepotřebujete tolik z okolí a zjišťujete, že je to všechno v nás.
And only then we can really enjoy the outside world in this attitude of stepping back.
A teprve tehdy si můžeme opravdu užívat ten vnější svět, tím, že máme ten přístup, že dělám krok zpátky.
really getting out of the world of ideas into the real world.
Je to opravdu posun ze světa myšlenek do skutečného světa.
In our homeland.
Do naší vlastní vlasti.
Yeah, Master Dogen says Zazen, our meditation, is the Dharma gate to peace and happiness.
Mr. Dogen říkal, že Zazen je brána dharmy do klidu a štěstí.
And he also says the worldly people don't like Zazen.
A říkal, že lidé světa, nebo světští lidé nemají rádi Zazen.
But Zazen might be the homeland of all the people.
Ale Zazen je možná pravá země, pravý domov všech lidí.
It's the gate to happiness.
Je to brána ke štěstí.
But it's not a simple way. It's very, very difficult, I find, to be happy.
Ale je to velmi, není to jednoduchá cesta, je velmi těžké.
To be really happy, I mean, of course.
To najít opravdové štěstí.
But I don't know whether this was really interesting for you.
Nevím, jestli to pro vás bylo zajímavé.
I've been trying to give a little idea about that strange topic I got.
Snažila jsem se trochu vysvětlit.
What is true happiness?
To zvláštní téma, co je skutečné štěstí.
I really in the beginning thought, oh no, I never talk about this. Oh no.
Na začátku jsem si
What is this all about?
Na začátku jsem si říkal, o tom nemůžu nic říkat, o tom nebudu mluvit, o čem to jako má být.
So, is there or are there any questions?
Máte nějaké otázky?
What I said?
K tomu, co jsem říkal.
Any doubts and criticism?
Nějaké pochybnosti nebo kritiku?
Oh, that's very amazing. I've never seen people who don't criticize or don't say.
I do have a describing the posture, the right position.
Yes.
And you were talking about getting regulation. You use two words. One
Regulate and balance. Regulation and balance.
You use regulate to regulate,
Yes.
but not to control. What is,
that's a very different thing. Yeah, it's a it's a natural. You must understand that the autonomic nervous system is autonomic, which means that it's not something that functions with our will. It's without we do anything. If we sit with the spine, the straight spine, it works. And there are many, many functions of the body that work completely without our intervention.
Yes.
And that's a very, very, it's part of the wonder of our body. People don't realize what a tremendous thing our body is. And this is really something I'd never heard before. Nishijima Roshi, my teacher, told me about, and it is generally not well seen upon by traditional Buddhists, because they say, oh, this is a spiritual state, it has to be some kind of very spiritual state, and they took him, I heard that literally, but he is a pure materialist. They were criticizing him as a materialist. But science itself proves
that we exist.
Yeah, it's really a scientific fact. And it's just because of the many historical reasons for it, that the spirituality, whatever this means, is considered more, more Buddhist than something physical. And it's stupid because we are both. I mean, there's no, we have both sides. So maybe.
Já jenom řeknu tak jako v podstatě ty myšlenky. Byla otázka jako, že jestli je rozdíl jaký je rozdíl mezi regulovat a kontrolovat. A Gabriel říká, že naše tělo má ten autonomní systém, je autonomní proto, nebo možná to auto znamená samo, znamená, že on sám on sám vytváří ten pocit rovnováhy, takže my to nemusíme intelektuálně kontrolovat, snažit se dostat do rovnováhy vlastní vůlí. Takže to je jedna důležitá věc, že autonomní systém je něco úžasného a že věda potvrzuje, že vědci už si všimli, začali to měřit, že jak je člověk vlastně vyvážený a šťastný, když mu funguje autonomní systém optimálně, když je ve stavu klidu a vyrovnání. A aniž by se o to snažil. Takže to vychází z našeho těla. A Gabriel říká, že někteří buddhisti si myslí, nebo lidi, co se zajímají o buddhismus, že co je důležité, je dosáhnout nějakého duchovního stavu, zvláštního stavu, a že to je hloupost a že její učitel Nishijima učil, že ten buddhistický stav, ten stav, který zažíval Buddha opakovaně a který učil, je stav, který je naprosto přirozený, který vychází z přirozenosti našeho těla a který nemusíme žádným násilím ovládat intelektuálně a není to žádný zvláštní spirituální stav. Že naše duchovnost je stejně důležitá jako náš fyzický stav, čili jsou nakonec v rovnováze.
And actually even myself, when I started studying with Nishijima Roshi, I was really quite idealistically oriented, and I thought, what is this? This is not spiritual, this can't be Buddhism, what is this? And but it's a fact that sitting in this posture, we do feel peaceful and happy. It's a fact. Anybody can try it. And, you know.
Když jsem poznala mistra Nishijimu, tak jsem byla sama dost idealistka a měla jsem takový spirituální představy o buddhismu. A když jsem ho poslouchala, co učí, tak jsem si říkala, to není možný, jako to není buddhismus. Ale nakonec jsem zjistila, že to je pravda, že člověk, když prostě jenom sedíme a nic zvláštního neděláme, takže jsme v tom rovnovážném spokojeném stavu.
In that state, there are no problems.
V tom stavu nejsou žádný problémy.
Of course, when you get out of the state, they come back. I mean, you don't, you can change the problems, but your attitude, the way you can treat them, the way you can get on with them, is a complete, you get a complete different point of view. It's not a point of view, it's a complete different attitude towards yourself and the world.
Že prostě když sedíme, tak odhodíme své problémy. A to neznamená, že ty problémy neexistují objektivně, ale máme pak k nim úplně jiný, naprosto jiný přístup.
But as I said, it's difficult to go on to do it every day.
Je těžký to dělat každý den.
It is really difficult. But this is the kind of difficulty that's really worth going through. Because thinking about all the difficulties we have apart from that, it's nothing.
Ale tak to je těžký jako se přinutit jako sedět pravidelně, ale tahle obtížnost je něco, co stojí za to zkusit překonat. Ta druhá část byla nějaká hezká myšlenka, ale to mi uniklo, jestli mi někdo pomohl. Že to stojí za to. No, I just asked about what you said. Že to stojí za to zkusit. Nebo to překonávat.
So there was in old Greek, ancient Greece, there was a kind of a school called the Stoicism.
V Řecku byla, v antickém Řecku byla filozofická škola, která se nazývala stoikové.
They have a very similar view of life, the Stoicism, and but not surprisingly, they were not very popular, and actually there were almost no followers because the idealism is much more attractive, of course. So that's it. Interesting in history.
Ty stoikové měli vlastně podobný přístup k životu, ale že samozřejmě nebyli moc populární, neměli moc následovníků, protože mnohem atraktivnější pro lidi je nějaký druh idealismu.
Actually, I have two questions in a common. So, what would you say the difference between happiness in Buddhist sense and enlightenment? Is there a huge difference?
I'm sorry, you hear better than I do. My ears are also really quite bad. So,
is there a difference between
in Buddhist sense?
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
And the happiness in Buddhist sense.
Buddhist sense of happiness, the happiness you explained,
yes,
and enlightenment. Is there a difference?
What would be the difference, if there is?
It is.
Or may I translate?
Yes, please.
Otázka je, jestli je nějaký rozdíl mezi tím štěstím v tom buddhistickém smyslu a osvícení.
So enlightenment is altogether a quite, I would say, doubtful thing.
Osvícení je tak celkově vzato docela taková pochybná věc.
It's big myth in Buddhism and particularly in Zen Buddhism.
Je to velký mýtus v buddhismu a zvláště v Zen buddhismu.
And it's a misunderstanding, but it's very attractive.
Je to nedorozumění, ale je to velmi populární, atraktivní téma.
Enlightenment is the serene and peaceful state.
There isn't any difference between.
There isn't a real difference. And it's not spiritual. It's real.
Osvícení,
That's the difference.
osvícení je ten klidný, jasný stav. Není tam žádný rozdíl.
So, yeah.
I would only add one comment to this. Maybe the enlightenment is just a visual way of describing the experience, because the experiences that we try to forget, you put in shade, you not put light on them. And when you stop trying to forget, then you can see everything, and everything is visible, and it's light on everything.
Yeah, it's
Maybe that's why it's enlightenment.
it's, you know, it's just something very simple. It's just see the world as it is.
Yes.
That's
why it's
all,
enlightenment.
you know. And it's actually, if you're not in a balanced state, you can't see it like that. That's simply like that. It's no more to it. There's not more to it.
I think you cannot see it anyway.
Of course, reality is something for our human
Only one sense is not enough.
possibilities. We cannot quite see it exactly, but we can live it. We can live our daily life on the base of reality. That is a fact. But to see it, how would I say, to reality is not something you can talk about, or you know,
It's a
you can
visual way
just,
of
it's just
describing.
ways of coming nearer to what we cannot explain exactly. But enlightenment, it's a topic that is really a bit boring for some people. For other people, it might be very exciting to talk about enlightenment. But it's really something you have to experience on a daily basis. It's not some kind of thing that you have it and then
Maybe
that's
it's
it.
enough. Maybe it's enough
Forever.
to experience it now.
Experiencing now. Wow. Here we are. I thought it must come.
Yeah.
That's also a very interesting topic. Love. What is love?
I didn't say love.
Anybody?
I said now.
Now.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's better. More interesting.
Potřebujete někdo přeložit? Díky. And nobody needs a translation.
Needs translation. They all understood.
Když okay.
Okay.
dobu snažím povědět.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very direct reality. Yeah.
Another question.
Ještě jedna otázka.
Is it what I believe is happiness is not a prolonged state, but I could only imagine or have delusion of having that happiness. Of course, when I'm sitting, but it's very hard work, like you say,
Oh yes,
and long distance running.
long distance running. Yes,
And,
it's a marathon of your whole life.
yes, and in the beginning I see this, we call it, runners call it the zone. Zone meaning you're in the state of complete harmonious state that you
Can
don't...
you understand and tell me afterwards? I can.
Yeah, there is a...
Acoustically, my ears, I can't hear so well anymore.
So-
and you don't talk a bit more.
Okay, so harmonious state that I achieve, but I used to seek for it, but it doesn't come. But rather, when I let go, then it comes more often. But it only happens after many hours of hard work, like meditation.
You mean running or
Running.
zazen? Running
Yes.
also.
I
When you
think
go
zazen is even more difficult to achieve
Yes.
that state. That takes many days or
Yes,
many years.
But running also is a kind of forgetting yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in any kind of action where you give yourself completely. There are other actions. I mean, there are also any action like that. But the base is that you're completely immersed in what you're doing, and there is no distance anymore between you and the doing.
And
So, what is your question?
my question is, should I accept this as a true happiness, or only through meditation that I can get this true happiness?
Ah, yeah. Well, of course, there are.
Sitting in zazen.
Yeah, it's. You can, of course, sports, and there's also, if you have a very, like, for instance, musicians, artists, painters, when they really forget themselves, that's when they are really creative. And it's true, but all this doing is in society. I mean, you run, you don't have, do you have ambition going on, being better than somebody else, or is there anything like that? I think there is. So what is so particular and also so important about meditation is that you have really no goal. That is very important stuff, you know. And because as long there's something like that, like ambition or something you want to attain, some fame, or, you know, for musicians and artists, it's very often the fame. You know, there are very few artists who work for art, really. And what we do in meditation, it's only for the truth. And that's the highest. You see, it's not, we're not doing to be somebody, to be, you know, in meditation, when you are in this serene, peaceful state, there's nothing.
And when you are not,
So that's the difference.
what happens when you are not in the state of sitting and
Well-
self-regulation and you are walking and eating?
Yeah.
What is the state of yours?
Oh, well, it depends. It's different. Sometimes, of course, sometimes I can, I think the state, you have to renew it every day. Because you lose it.
Every moment.
Yeah.
Moment.
Well, the state, every moment. It's a momentary state. So
Yeah.
actually in meditation, you're not always in that serene state. It can be like hell. But yeah, it's true. It can be absolute hell, like sitting on a fireball and working through your emotions and your, yeah, sure. But that doesn't matter. It's part of the thing. It's not. No, we don't fear it. It's always momentary. Everything is momentary anyway. Our whole life. exists only of moments, tremendously fast. So that's it. Everybody understood, no? Yes, that's the thing. Of course, I'm not pretending that when we are sitting meditation, we are always in the serene and peaceful state. No. But we're coming nearer and nearer by practicing.
Is what you teach
Yes.
To be in this state of sitting,
Yes.
and meditation and deep meditation?
Yes.
Is this the only way you can reach yourself? Is that what you teach?
You can reach yourself. You mean that? But I say come really...
it was a way to describe your
Yes.
target. No
Yes.
target, okay.
No target.
Is this is a practical question of the Zen or whatever you are.
Yes. Yeah.
Is this what you teach? Sit and meditate?
Yes.
Is this it?
Yes, so, certainly it is.
Uh-huh.
It's the essence of the teaching.
Okay.
And it's the essence of Buddha's teaching.
Uh-huh.
And it's the essence of all the masters of the past teaching. But it's not only that. It's not a self, how would I say, what is this word? We're not doing it
To feel important or?
no, that's of course not. But there's life, you know. So actually there is no difference between the meditation, the sitting and life.
Yes.
So I don't teach that only meditation, because then we would only have to meditate, we couldn't live anymore, which is stupid. Because our main thing is to live. But we can live very differently when we meditate. So both are important. Yes, of course in Zen it's true that there's great stress on meditation, more than on studying and kind of also devotion and stuff. It's most important is to meditate without any object, and come the nearest to our original nature, which is called Buddha nature. I don't know. Is there any other question?
So I have a question. Just I will follow what you just said. You mentioned that we live our lives and then we can try to meditate, or if we wish, we will meditate. So, and I know for everybody could be different. But how much of the time, of the daytime, we can live or meditate? Was there like ratio?
You mean the balance between meditation and living?
Yeah. It could be very different.
Yes. My teacher always said an hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
But for busy people, half an hour is good too. And even 10 minutes is okay, because it just kind of changes the attitude, and it's better to not to sit too much. I think it's sometimes people exaggerate to sit the length of time, 45 minutes is really the limit, because otherwise you really get into strange states, or you go to sleep. But actually, for me it's half an hour to an hour.
Yeah.
I don't sit more than that.
No, I mean not continuously, but maybe if there's like vipassana meditations.
Oh
some
yes,
people meditate
yes, of course.
in
There are
row.
many. I can talk only about what I know. So I have been, well, I have learned the one part of Buddhism which is called Zen Buddhism, and in Zen Buddhism actually they sit an awful lot, and my teacher said it's too much. We don't need so much, and personally I think it's true. But on the other hand, if you want to sit a lot, you can do it. You can do it. I think just everybody has to fit in the kind of lives they have, and we are human beings. We can only do what we can. We can't do more. So if you can fit in half an hour to an hour, it's great. It's great, and I mean, you feel it yourself. You see,
Sure.
it's not that I want to convince you for something, but actually you can feel it, the difference. You do feel a difference. And I prefer in the morning because it gives the attitude almost the whole day. But also it's nice in the evening because then you sleep much deeper and you don't need so much sleep. That's also good. So, but anything you can, even 10 minutes, it helps.
And do you think, because we have a small group here, we have Zazen practice every Friday evening at 6. So if you don't live too far, you can come and practice with us. But it's your talk, so do you think it's important to join a group and sit with them regularly, or sit alone without a group?
Yes, that's always a question that comes. I have done both. I started in a group. I think in the beginning it's almost necessary to be in a group. First, to get a kind of motivation, which is a real motivation, how would I say, that you get in a kind of routine of the body. The body is not so fast as the mind. So it takes some time, at least for a few months you should be. It's a matter of character. Some people, they have great difficulty with groups, so they want to sit alone. And it's not bad. I think it's good, but it has the danger in it that you can just really, turn around your navel. It can fortify your ego tremendously, and that in a group is more difficult because you have the others and you have the teacher. I think it's very important to have a teacher. I couldn't have started without a teacher and without the group personally, because I'm not very disciplined myself. So I had to have a certain time, and I had to push myself, go to the dojo and do it. But there are people can do it. I have in my dojo a guy who's been sitting for 10 years alone, And I was very doubtful about him when he came, and he had read about Nishijima Roshi and Brad Warner and so on. And I said, okay. And slowly I understand his character. He is a loner, but he has read the right books, and he's a good brain, and he didn't really go far away. They're just very little. So it's interesting. It really depends on people. You can't really say, don't practice alone. There are some people who can do it, but I think there are very few. Most of people, like me, they really need a dojo. They need a place where they regularly, and they need also support. Support. It's a great support to practice with other people. Yeah, so question of character. But this was very interesting for me because I always thought it's quite dangerous, especially if you start alone. You know? No, it can be okay. So there's no rule in life, you know. Life is so extraordinary, and there's so extraordinary variety of people and things, and rules don't work. Especially in meditation, I think.
Thank you.
Anybody?
There are no more questions. Maybe
No more question, it
we
looks
could
like
try Zazen for a while, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Is
sure,
it?
sure.
Můžeme zkusit Zazen všichni. So Gabriel, could you please show the posture to everyone, and you just sit, so budete sedět takhle naproti a potřebujete nějaký polštářek pod zadek. Něco.
Have you practiced before? Because I see you sitting like that. The most important thing is have the knees on the ground. This is our base. So
kolena by měly být na podložce, abyste
that
měli,
is a very important thing.
abyste měli vyvážit.
If you can't put your legs on well, how it's called?
Zabuton.
No, on the
Oh.
it's it doesn't matter. But what is important is that you have your knees on the ground and you have a really good basis for your posture. And the posture you can imagine like a pyramid. You have your two knees here, and your head, top of your head, is the top of the pyramid. And you must feel like the whole either you can look down up, or you can use the force of gravity, you know. So this is the basis. Then so whether you do the half lotus or the full lotus, very few people can do it. It's better to not to bless yourself, to get hurt. I have seen in Japan people who they do it, you know, really with the strong will, you know, because they want to do it good, and you know, and they have knee problems without end. It's horrible to see. It's not necessary to really force yourself for the full posture. Half is okay, even quarter is okay. And even the Burmese, you call it the Burmese, where you have just your 2 feet, legs on the one before the other, it's also okay. But what is important is not this, whether the legs go there, it's the spine. And this has to do with the autonomic nervous system, actually. Because it goes along the spine, the 2 systems.
Parasympathicus, sympathicus.
Yeah. And then what is important is that the head has to really, how would you say? I can't explain it very well in English, frankly speaking, but the head has to be freely exactly on top of the spine. You have here I can see this. No, it's the other way around. You have to a little bit put in your chin. Yes.
Relax the head.
Yeah, relaxed, but the chin. Because if you do this, if you go up with the chin, you're completely, your neck is completely squeezed. How you say squeezed? Yes. So this is the head. Position of the head is a very, very important point, because if you have the head up like that, you squeeze your neck. And if you have it like this, you have Hohlkreuz. How say? Your spine is like this. It should be. How is it? Oh, I don't know the word in English.
And in German?
Hohlkreuz. Hohlkreuz. You know what Hohlkreuz, Christina?
No?
S-curve.
Yeah, it's.
S-curve. No,
it's like that. It's like that. So.
Lordosa. Huh? Lordosis in Latin. Lordosis.
Oh, well. Latin, well. Anyway, so both is wrong. This is wrong and this is wrong. So have it naturally. Have it naturally, and actually, if your head is well on the spine, it naturally is like that. So these are, I think, the most important point. Have the feet on the ground, the knees on the ground, have the spine straight, and have the head on really on top of it, but freely, and have a little bit the sin, naturally the sin going down. And then you have this cosmic mudra, which means you have a lovely oval, and it's not like a mountain, and it's not like a valley. It's really in the middle. You see? Really in the middle. Because if I see you have them like that, I know you're sinking. And if it's like that, I know you're half sleeping. So it's every detail has a very great importance. This is why in my dojo, after 4 years explaining, we have, of course in German, unfortunately, you couldn't read it, but we have a very good explanation about the posture. Because the posture is tremendously important. Not what you're in your mind. It's completely without importance, but what you do with your body. That's the main point. Really very important. So we do? So then?
I don't have a bell, but a nemám tady ten zvonek, tak za 5 minut, až se, when you start moving, it means it's over.
Okay, off we go.
And we look down, right? We look down.
Yes, eyes are about 90 centimeters. This in front of us, and it's not focusing. It's looking without really seeing. Just like that. Actually, if the chin is right, if your head is right, and if your chin is okay, it's naturally your eyes fall half open, not shut, but half open. But it naturally falls like that if the rest of the posture is correct. So we start.